Alright everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today is Monday. On Mondays we read Breslov history from a sefer called Siach, Sarfei, Kodesh. Has a lot of amazing stories and historical information about Breslov Hasidim from Rabbi Nachman's time up until, early 1900s. There's a lot of good information in here. We've been reading from this Chelik Beis, the second part. There's 8 volumes in the Sefer for the last, 4 or 5 months already. And we are at the end of Chelik Beis almost. We're going to be finished probably in a few weeks. And we're reading about Reb Noson. So if you want to catch up on the videos, you check the channel. It's a beautiful day. The sun is shining inside my studio office. So let's just start and read. So it says over here that Reb Noson used to say that about the different Hasidim, that they have certain, everybody has problems coming to Uman Rosh Hashanah from their families. Oh, why do you go? What's this, that? Even back then, it was like that, to go to the kibbutz in Uman for Rosh Hashanah. So everybody has their minias, how we call them, their preventions. So Reb Noson said, he was one time talking about that, and he said that thank God that after Rosh Hashanah comes Yom Kippur, because then the Chassidim return to their houses and everybody forgives each other and everybody loves each other and all the peace in the house comes back. And he said this to his son, Rabbi Yitzchak, who used to have Menias Gedoylus. He used to have big problems coming to Uman for Rosh Hashanah. Baruch Hashem, I don't have so many problems. But there is always a little bit of tension, obviously, for everybody, leaving your family. It's hard, but this is what we have to do. Again, Rabbi Noson was one time talking about the Indian of going to the Tzion of Rabbi Nachman. He said, this is a very famous thing that people know. He said that even if the whole entire way to Rabbi Nachman's Tzion was covered in sharp knives, I would still crawl on my feet to get to the Tzion. But without a passport, I would not go. He said that I would do every single thing possible to get a passport. And another lashon that I've seen in this regard is that meaning that he said that if you try to travel without a passport, well, back then it was a little different, but obviously today you can't even leave your own country without a passport. But back then it was different sections of Ukraine and whatever it was back then, and there was checkpoints and everything like that, and you could be easily thrown into jail if you did not have the right papers. And then Rabbi Noson said that you could be even Bechal Shabbos and miss a lot of mitzvahs and not having kosher food, so it'd be a much bigger problem. Today, if you try to travel without a passport, you won't even make it out of the airport. So it's a different type of thing. But yeah, basically he's saying to do everything, legally, basically, to get to Uman. One time after the Shuas Hagadol was after Rabbi Nachman died. The Chassidim gathered at Reb Noson. About 80 Chassidim, the major serious Ovdei Hashem of Breslov, and it was a huge Hasiris Nifla, and they called this Chag Shavuos. They called this the Shuas Hagadol, their Grosser Shavuos. Right? And Reb Noson said to all the Chassidim that traveled with him and then left, he said, "No, after we already got the Torah, right? Now we have to be careful not to make an egel. So we have to keep the good that we got from this Shavuos Hagadol." Reb Noson said, if I didn't see by Rabbi Nachman, when I was first becoming close to him, silver spoons and plates that he had. Rabbi Nachman did have a little bit of fancy stuff, I guess, fancy dinnerware, whatever you call it, dishware, whatever. He said he said that it would have been very hard for me to become close to him, because Rabbi Noson was born into a very rich house and he was not used to Anias. So if he would have came to Rabbi Nachman, he would have seen that Rabbi Nachman was living in Anias, then he would have had a problem coming close to Rabbi Nachman. But since Rabbi Nachman did have a little of these things, so it was easier for Rabbi Noson to come close. That's like a very human side of Rav Noson. That's very interesting to see. It says over here that the face of Rav Noson was always burning and shining and like, there was always something showing on his face from the amount of happiness and his slavas that he always had. And it was always red, his face. And since his face was red, so the Misnagdim said on him, they started making rumors about him that he was always that he was always drinking. And when you're drinking, your face turns red. So that's why they said that his face was red, because he was a drunk. And when they told Rav Noson this, he said, "Thank you, Hashem, Shem Mimashke Hatam Yev Shalei Shtaker." He said, from the drink of the tam, from the simpleton, I think he's referring to the supporter mice, the mice of the Chacham and the tam. He said it's impossible to get drunk. I'm not sure what he's referring to, but it says over here, look in the Sefer Olim L'Trufa, which is the letters of Rav Noson and his son Rav Yitzchak, Michtav Kuf Samech Gimel. I think maybe what he's saying is that I'm not sure what he's saying, but we definitely know that Rav Noson was not getting drunk, and that's why his face was red. His face was red because of Kedusha. One time at Simchas Torah, Rabbi Nachman told Shin, Kitzas b'Gilufin. He was a little bit in Gilufin, a little bit high, because he drank a little bit of wine, HaMeshaker, and he fell from happiness and his drunkenness onto the feet of Rav Noson. V'amar, he said to him that you are my life, you are my life, you are what's keeping me alive. And Rav Noson asked him the next day if he remembers what he said. And Rabbi Nachman of Tulchin said, yes, I remember, and also today I say that. And Rav Noson said to him, he said, what you said is truth, but you shouldn't say that on Simchas Torah with a drunken mouth. And it's known in Breslov is not Rabbi Nachman and Rav Noson. They talk about not like drinking at all, basically, except for like Purim, not even like Simchas Torah. Just a little bit of wine for to open your mind a bit on Shabbos, but after that, like, it's not really recommended to drink. Okay. After Rabbi Nachman died, when Rav Noson was traveling around to awaken the Breslov Hasidim, because after Rabbi Nachman died, after the Rebbe died, it's always like hard. So he wanted to go around and be mechazker everybody into the Inyan of Rabbi Nachman. And he said that even though Rabbi Nachman's not here, we still have to be mekayim his words and everything like that, right? So he was on the way by one of the Hasidim, and they were eating the afternoon meal, the lunch, whatever, during the week. And they put in front of him, when they were eating, they put in front of him the meichel, the food that we call borscht, selet, beets. And Rav Noson realized that one of the people who was sitting at the house did not get any of the beets. They did not put it in front of him, like the rest of the people. And Rav Noson asked the Baal Bayis, why didn't this guy get beets? And the Baal Bayis said that he does not eat borscht because he has a sickness in his lungs, and the borscht will hurt him more. And Rav Noson commanded them that they should give the meichel to this choila, to this guy who was sick in his lungs. And Rav Noson told him to eat, and he ate, and he became fully cured. And it was a nace. Achar, when this sick person who wasn't sick anymore went to his doctor, the doctor was hishtoimim that he was still alive. Amaloi, right? He said that I would have said that if you would have eaten borscht, you would have been dead. And it's just like it's a pasha nace that you're alive. Rav Noson said to the people of his house, to his family members, whoever was working in his house at the time, whenever they had a shaila about treifus or anything like that in food, they should ask him the question first before they go ask Rabbi Aaron, the Rav of Breslov. Ki Rabbeinu Noson loy be'er hamadam lifts like shelos. Rabbeinu gave him be'er hamadam, a clear way to to make psak in question. So I guess that if Aaron would have answered wrong, then Rav Noson's psak would have stood. But it probably was the same thing. But I think that's what he's saying over there. One time they were praising a certain person in front of Rav Noson. He used the word chiloni here, someone who's not religious, saying that he's an ish yasher v'hagun ve'inoim sheker. He's a straight person. He's a kosher person. He doesn't say any lies. Rav Noson says im inoim sheker hari oise hu sheker. He doesn't say sheker, but he's doing sheker. Take that as you will. When Rav Yitzchak, the son of Rav Noson, came to the age of 20, and his 20th birthday was on Shabbos, Rav Noson said to him, "You should be up." The minhag was that when somebody came to their 20th birthday, they would stay up the whole entire night and say the whole entire Tehillim, like it's born in Sfarim. This is a minhag that some people do. And he said Tehillim, you should say Tehillim, and also say something from the Likutei Tefillos that I did. And when you get to the tefillah that talks about the chatoim and avonos, because it's Shabbos, you can't say your avonos on Shabbos, maybe you should skip on it. Okay. One time before Mincha, on Taanis Esther, when Rav Nachman Nitulchin came to the shul, he was very happy. He was getting excited about Purim. And when Rav Noson saw him, he said the whole entire shul is about to say the words that we are in great tzara, right? As you say in the tefillah of Anenu and Mincha on Erev Purim. And Purim didn't come, so what are you being happy about? So you gotta start being happy when Purim starts, not on Taanis Esther. One time Rav Noson, in the time when Rabbi Nachman was alive, he was by the Rabbi Gedalia of Linitz with some other Breslov Chassidim, and they were davening b'koilus u'b'tzakus k'derech Hanash k'derech Breslov. They were davening, screaming loud, whatever. So Rabbi Gedalia of Linitz said to Rav Noson, he said, "Why are you guys screaming so much in your tefillah, making so much noise?" And Rav Noson did not answer him at all. And afterwards, Rav Noson said to the Anash, Rabbeinu is the bechin of shemen b'chashai, like the hidden oil. Ki Rabbeinu ba'atzmai, Rabbi Nachman himself used to daven very quietly, b'loy koilos, but he said we need to scream from our throats as much as we can for help. Okay. Before Rav Noson became close to Rabbi Nachman, Rabbi David Tzir, Rav Noson's father-in-law, asked his daughter, who was married to Rav Noson, on what Rav Noson did in his house. He wanted to know. Right? And obviously she told him that he was learning and doing big things and everything like that, and he was very happy. Because he was always learning. He was always a very big Talmid Chacham. He was always watching time. But when he became to Breslov, he did even on a whole new level. It says that Rav Noson was noig to never look outside his Arba Amos. All right, let's do two more. One time on Thursday, it was a Thursday, and Rav Noson did not have any money for Shabbos food. And with Chasdei Hashem, one of the Breslov Chassidim sent Rav Noson some money. He sent him a ruble echad. And Rav Noson went to Rav Nachman of Tulchin, and he gave him this ruble, and he told him to, make it into change and give it to 5 poor Breslovers. L'chol echad asor kopeks, 10 kopeks. So I guess 50 kopeks are a ruble, okay? and I don't know, it's cut off on the bottom where they're printing. He said, okay, so I guess he said that, and I guess that amount he gave to the people, this is, enough for Shabbos food, but tzimtzum, like the basics, and the rest of it, I guess he kept for himself so that he could also have Shabbos. So he didn't even take fully of it. He gave some of it away. Chana Cyril, who was the daughter of Noson, Sipra Sha'oisa Avodas HaChatzois, she said that his Avodas HaChatzois Sha'oim Mekayim Aviv Ba'ois in Shal Shoshanim Sha'oim Meshulach Mi Breslov Le Nemerov, when he was sent from Breslov to Nemerov, Lo Ra'asa Etzla Mikoydim Lezeh. So I think he was doing major avodas, like the way that he was doing chatzais then in Nemerov was much more that he never did anything like that. Rav Noson was going twice to the mikvah, one before chatzais and then again after. So that's pretty wild. He was doing major avodas. I'm not sure what when he was being sent from Breslov. Does that mean when he was in exile from Breslov because the Mishnah didn't like him? I have to look that part out. But anyway, those are the stories for today. And on Thursday, we'll be back with Purim stories. If you haven't seen me already, uploaded 2 videos of Purim stories. They're on Anchor and they're on YouTube, so you can check them out. And I hope everybody is good and safe. And thank you for watching.